Anyway, should we get to the main event? If we do that, we'll be over with this whole thing quicker. Didn't they just have this last week?
Yes.
A street fight, Eddie Kingston and Penthouse against the Hardley Boys, the Cucamonga Kids.
But it wasn't a street fight last time.
It wasn't a street fight, but but how can you tell the difference? There are no rules to any of these matches. They do the same things and they all have the same finish. So how can you tell the difference? Kingston and Penthouse, and Alex was nowhere to be seen this time, his disappearing translator. The Cucamonga Kids are back to not gluing pubic hair on their faces, as we mentioned earlier in the program, but they're wearing blue jean shorts now because that's their street. See, they take the street fight very seriously. So whereas the deal when Dusty would book street fights is you wear blue jeans and cowboy boots and you got a heavy belt and a belt buckle on and bring anything you got in your pockets or whatever. They're wearing blue jean shorts to show how seriously they take the street fight, because this is all a joke to them. And it should be, because despite the fact that they're an embarrassment to their profession, they have no talent for what they're doing, and they look ridiculous. They're making a shit ton of money from a goof Mark who got suckered into paying them despite the fact that they're worthless. So they should be laughing. But I'm going to try to be more detached on my tone here. Jumpstart, trash can, super kicked. Michael knocked out.
Yeah, by the way, another one. Speaking of you being in their heads, did you hear, I think it was Excalibur. At one point he says, Michael, knock it off or get out of here, or whatever he said. He completely stole your line.
Yeah.
Calls the guy pie face, now he's using that?
Well, no, I think somebody said that he said that so-and-so pie-faced the Buck because he shoved him in the face. That is a move, a pie face. You pie face somebody in the face. But anyway, Brandon Cutlet, that nondescript piece of bland white meat, got in the ring in his clown outfit and started spraying the cold spray at all the baby faces. So now we've got a comedy street fight going on. I couldn't pay attention to it. I wrote kids in funny clothes doing play fighting and choreographed tricks with chairs. Just a few of the highlights. They set up a table in the ring. No, they set up a table on the floor and tried to set up a table in the ring, but Kingston's table in the ring broke, so he just pulled it apart in pieces. And then Penthouse and Pieface did a Canadian destroyer off the apron of the ring through a table. And by actual count, in 10 seconds, Penthouse was fine, up, crawling under the ring to pull more shit out. So at that point, I can't watch this. It's in no way worth my time to watch these kids get to pretend to be wrestlers on national TV just because they were made vice presidents by a money mark and everybody has to indulge their fucking ego trips. Just random things. They got a close-up of Balding Buck, and this is when I did start looking at the crowd. So I'm like, what? How can they like this shit when they see the same shit every week and it looks as bad as it does every week? So I'm looking at the crowd, and in the entire front row across from the camera, they get a close-up of Balding Buck, as I said, and there was one female in the entire. Everybody else looked like an interchangeable, fat, pot-bellied, bearded or mustached fucking frump. Except there was one female in the entire front row across the ring, and she was the ugliest blonde I've ever seen, half her head shaved and a nose like a cucumber. So I'm looking at that was the classic picture for a Young Bucks match. They couldn't draw pussy with a goddamn license to print money. They've got a bunch of guys that are sitting there going, oh, well, they're doing flips, and it's so cool. And all the women said, where did the men in wrestling used to go to that we used to come to the matches hoping to get with? And now we're sitting here watching these fucking children. I bet if a woman goes to an AEW wrestling match, if she's over the age of 21, she feels like one of those fucking teachers that you see popped on the news every now and then for having inappropriate relations with her middle schoolers. No wonder they don't have any rats. It's against the law. They'd be consorting with minors. What a bunch of sex symbols the AEW roster is. I mean, they're drawing them better than the Fabs. So this match was a bunch of guys doing a bunch of sloppy, goofy, contrived shit that resembled neither a fight, a wrestling match, or anything an adult would believe, be excited by, or want to watch on purpose. And then the finish, and I'm not kidding, Balding Buck and Penthouse do a stunt off the top rope onto a bed of thumbtacks laying in the ring, and then they put thumbtacks in Eddie Kingston's mouth and super kicked him. And that's how they beat him. Thumbtacks in the mouth, followed by a super kick. They don't need to shoot Jackass 4. Just show clips of AEW matches, and it serves the purpose. Any thoughts on this that I missed? I'm sure there were many.
Not really. Worst Young Bucks match I've ever seen.
God, imagine the territory that takes in.
I've always liked them a little better than you in terms of in the ring. I mean, out of the ring, I think the same about them as you do, but in the ring, I've enjoyed some of their matches. This was by far the worst one I've ever seen. I keep saying go away Heat. I don't know how many other people are feeling it, but I don't think because they don't know how to be heels, they come across like they don't know how to be heels. And it's unbelievable, and it's just silly, and boy, am I not into this. This is not good.
That's what they play heels. As I've said, it's like flying an airplane. If you watch a pilot for about 30 minutes, then you can look like you're flying the plane by twiggling the toggles and pushing the buttons and switching the knobs. But in actuality, you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. They are imitating the visual moves that you can see wrestlers do, but they have no idea why or how or at what point to do these things. And the visual is ridiculous. So anyway, so AEW had a really good 6-man tag team match and a fairly good surrogate Jim Cornette interview. And NXT had one match of the year candidate, not the one apparently that some people thought, and another very good match. And otherwise, that was kind of 4 hours out of our lives.
Well, Jim, before we wrap things up, we have some breaking news into the show. WWE Digital has learned that Bayley sustained an injury while training for her WWE Money in the Bank match against Bianca Belair, and will be out approximately 9 months.
Jesus Christ!
A suitable replacement for the SmackDown Women's title match will be announced tonight on Fox. Tune into SmackDown. Bayley out 9 months. That's the story.
What the fuck should... What could she have done that hurt herself for 9 months? Tore an ACL?
ACL was my first thought. Training. They said training she got hurt, so my first thought was ACL.
Good Lord.
Without knowing anything, I could be completely wrong, but my first instinct was ACL.
Yeah. Well, then that takes another high spot away from the women's side of the roster. Well, we hope Bayley gets better. She's one of the bright spots.
That's right.